What's up, everybody? This is Matt DeMarinis from White and Blue Review. Sitting here, getting ready to do another Creighton commentary. Today we're bringing you a really fun episode, actually. One I'm pretty excited about. We're going back to 1996, December 8th. Creighton's, what would we call this, an Elite Eight match, I guess?
Yes.
Against Fresno State that sent Creighton to the College Cup for the first time in program history. And today, on today's episode, we have two players that were both a part of that match, which you'll see as we go on, and two guys who are still a part of Creighton coaching their men's and women's soccer programs, Johnny Torres and Ross Paule. We also have Creighton SID Anthony Robinson on here. I told him he's free to chime in whenever he feels like it, but he's a bit understated, so he might not. But I'm going to introduce him anyway. That way he knows he's on the spot right now. But first of all, I guess, Johnny, Ross, thank you for joining me for this one. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And just for the viewers, I guess we should warn everybody, like, this isn't going to be – obviously what you're seeing right here is just straight off of a camcorder, it looks like. So there won't be any score bugs or play-by-play or anything, but just to let you know who is who in terms of who you need to know, Johnny Torres will be the blur on the screen. So whenever you see someone running really fast, that's Johnny. And Ross is the blonde-haired terror in the middle of the field, creating havoc all over the place. So those will be your identifying marks. And I guess my first question off of that is to Ross, and I'm pretty sure he knows what it is. What was the deal with the hair back then?
Honestly, it was kind of one of those things where it was just all of a sudden said, I'm going to bleach my head white. And I really just did it. And it was a shock to everybody. Obviously, it was a shock to me. It was a shock to my parents. Because I am not that type of person at all. I just don't do things like that, really. But it just stuck. It was something that just kind of stayed with me. And it stayed with me for a very long time, even through some of my professional career.
Really?
I think, what my parents loved and my grandma and grandpa loved is when they watched the game, they could always find me. I was that little white Q-tip bouncing around out there. So.
That's what I found pretty productive about watching this match. I was like, I don't know who anybody is, and then I saw that blonde hair, and I was like, oh well, that's Ross. That'll be easy. So yeah, 20 years later, I appreciate your. 25 years later, I appreciate your decision making.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Did you meet your wife with the blonde hair? Did she fall in love with this version?
I met my wife in high school, so it was long before the white Q-tip.
Okay. So was she cool with this, or did it take some time?
I think it's going to take everybody some time when you see that bright of a head running around out there. But she didn't mind it. No, she was very supportive.
Nice.
It's funny, I can actually piggyback on a little bit of that story, but I think both Ross and I started to experiment with hair our freshman year in college, because I vaguely remember Ross maybe trying to dye his hair with peroxide, which did not look that pretty. It wasn't that gold, that bright gold. It was almost like tarnished. And then I started actually cutting hair my freshman year, and it was not very good.
Were you the team barber?
Not at the beginning, because I was pretty bad, and they could look at my haircut and know how bad I was. In fact, a lot of people made fun of me my freshman year. They told me that I looked like Curious George. But I still cut hair. I still cut my own hair, and I think both Ross and I started experimenting with our hair in our freshman year in college. Nice. 7th floor, Swanson Hall, baby.
Yes.
What do you guys remember about this Fresno State squad? I think they were ranked around 11th or something like that when you guys played them. So they had a pretty good year. What do you remember about some of the tactical challenges they presented to you guys?
Well, I know they were meant to be even higher ranked than that. They had so many talented players on that team
Really?
that I still have talks with today, and actually last year I had a talk with their goalkeeper here. So just really a talented team, but we were a team that really didn't care who we were playing. We were going to try to implement who we were as a team, and this game I honestly think was one of our top games that I remember of us just dominating the game against a very, very good team.
Yeah, I'd have to echo Ross's sentiments. This was a team that had all the tools to be able to win a national championship. But I think what stood out for me was we were road warriors this year, and we actually played every game on the road to make it to the Final Four. So we were running with a lot of confidence, and we felt that once we got on the field and got to play together and rolled our sleeves up, there was going to be a good outcome to come.
What was that shootout with Cal State Fullerton like the round before this? Because you guys went 0-0 into the shootout, into the penalties. What do you guys remember about that shootout that allowed you guys to get to this point?
Another incredible game. Honestly, it was what a game that was, full of talented players that went on and played pro also. But honestly, it was like Johnny said, we had something about us. It was a unique group, and we'll get into individuals when we talk a little bit more about our team in depth. But I tell you, it was a group that was very confident in who we were. We were all just full of different personalities that brought something very special to each other as a group. And the penalty kick shootout, Johnny, was that Steve Jolly or who was?
Yeah, no, the two guys that I remember from that Cal State Fullerton team. Actually, you played with one of them, and I played with another professionally. You played with Joey DeMarino.
Yes.
With the Rapids, and I played with Brian Dunseth in New England.
Dunseth.
Both those guys were on that team. And I think that's kind of what I was alluding to about riding high on confidence is we just come off beating Cal State Fullerton at their place, double overtime, we go into a shootout, and we're riding high coming into Fresno State. And we're thinking there's no way, I don't care how good these guys are, there's no way they're going to beat us today. And I think that's why we came in so confident into this game. Had we come in to play Fresno State first, I don't know if we would have been that confident. But at least I'm talking personally. I felt so confident coming off that Cal State Fullerton game.
Well,
here's Ross in the box trying to get a header right here.
Yeah.
When I actually first saw, I've watched this one already, but when I first saw this, I kept thinking back to those practices, those set piece practice sessions that Ross would have with the girls, and the mentality it takes when you're in the box to be, you kind of have to ratchet up the intensity to a different level to be able to get your head on a ball like that. Like, who did you learn that from, Ross, as a player, like to be that tenacious? And because it is kind of dangerous to some degree. Like, where did you get that? How did you learn that tenacity to go in there as aggressive as you always did?
I think it's also a great question for Johnny also, because when you're a goal scorer, you look for any way possible to give yourself a chance to score a goal. And my strength was to find the ball and be able to place it into the net. And I was going to be aggressive with my head also. Maybe why I got so many concussions. No, it's just one of those things where you have it. It's a mindset, and you can see when you watch any of these set pieces, we were pretty organized with what we were trying to do. Players going near post, I would always veer off to the backside, and Johnny causing chaos in there anywhere inside the six. So it's it's really, your coach gives you where you're meant to be, and then it's your job to get on the end of it. So you have to have that aggression. it's my job as a coach now to find those players that fit that mold and put them in those positions.
Johnny, do you remember how it kind of developed inside of you to not, I guess be intelligent with it, but also have the right amount of aggressiveness? I guess you were pretty undersized, so in the box probably wasn't your strong suit, but to be able to find the right spots, to be dynamic in those situations where you do have an opportunity to put one on goal.
Yeah, no, I think Ross touched on it a little bit. I think what's important, and I see it now as a coach, and I try to translate that onto our players, is understanding what you're good at, right? And so for me, I wasn't the type of player Ross was. Ross was very, very technical, very good on the ball. It was very difficult to have or to ever see Ross lose the ball. It was very difficult to take the ball from Ross. And he knew that. And that's why he was kind of the maestro in the middle of the field. And he was the one, calling all the shots. So if you think of something like basketball, he was the point guard, I knew I wasn't that type of player. I knew I was a more dynamic, speedy type of player. And a lot of times I didn't want the ball at my feet if I was checking to you, and that's something that Ross understood. That's something that Richard Mulrooney understood. And there's a lot of times where I'd be checking to the ball, but they knew that I didn't want the ball at my feet. They knew that I was checking to draw the defender in. And they would look for spaces, and I would turn and try and motor and beat my player to the ball. And so I think once you understand what your strengths are and you're able to comprehend that and try and execute, I think gives you a little bit of success. And so for me, it was a matter of finding the spaces. And obviously, I always wanted to score. That's what brought me the most joy. And so I was trying to find spaces to get on goal.
Mm-hmm. Looks like you guys are trying to play the ball up to that top line to, find Johnny and Ross. I've seen you break out to that left side a couple times. Like, in terms of your guys' tactics and everything, was that a big part of the strategy, was just to get it to that top line and let those guys create?
Yeah, if you really watch the movements off the ball, I think we were very good at moving off of each other. Johnny would drop back in order to create space in behind, and I would always fill the role of finding the space in behind. Or we had it looks like we're playing three up top, but it's just because we're always having one player drop back and the other follow in.
Gotcha.
How can he save that?
Almost.
Was that that was the defender that hit that, right? The free kick?
Yeah.
I don't think he saved that. I think that he just found the ball, hit his kneecap.
Right.
That's crazy that you almost got that through there.
Yeah.
That's what Johnny always used to say about you, Ross, though. You were so pinpoint with your shots, though.
I told you, I've never seen Ross miss a penalty kick.
Really?
I'm talking games. I'm talking practice. I'm talking if we're out just screwing around, because Ross and I would always stay after and do stuff. And so I'm talking my entire life. I've never seen Ross miss a penalty kick.
That's crazy.
That's definitely something I can say that I've never done.
But Johnny,
there's a lot of pressure with penalty kicks, though. How do you not choke one off eventually?
Well,
exactly.
I do. I took I don't know how many penalty kicks in college and in professional, and probably I don't know what the percentage rate is of them, but I did miss two.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Ross, I
Breaking
didn't
news.
know that.
I missed two, and one I don't think the other one was in college. I know I missed one in pro, and I still remember it today.
college because I would know that.
Yeah. So it was actually in my club career, and I actually still remember that one that I missed. So
really?
With Coach Boot, Richard Boot.
Yes, and he got so mad at me. And I was like, Coach, I've made almost every one. He goes, but Ross, you switch sides. You never switch. You shouldn't switch.
Oh my goodness. You should meet Ross's club coach. He's unbelievable.
Really?
And at least I was so scared of him growing up. So Ross and I actually played together on Region 3 team where Brett Simon was the head coach. So, Ross and I have known each other since we were like teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
But Richard Boot for me was so scary. And I remember both Richie and Ross played for Richard Boot. And I remember Ross telling me a story about Coach Boot, and if your ball was flat at practice, he would punt it as far as he could kick the ball and have you go get it because it was flat.
Oh my God.
Oh, good save.
Yeah, that's one of their first chances right there. I think you guys have been really dominating that side of the field.
Well, I can't remember the guy's name. He played for the Seattle Sounders. He was a winger, and I remember he was one of the guys that we had to be very careful with. And Zion Renfrom, our left back, that was his assignment to try and stay with him. But I remember this guy was supposed to be fast, and he is. He's very, very fast. So he was definitely someone that we were trying to be careful with.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so the goalkeeper in this, his name is Steve Patterson, and he was actually one of the top goalkeepers in college. And I still talk to him a little bit today because he's on the recruiting trail. He owns a company. I forget the name of it, but it's a group that basically puts all information together of all potential prospects that you have and all on one site. I talk to him a good amount each time, and he always brings up this game.
Really?
And yeah, because they thought they were gonna beat us. They thought this was their year.
Yeah.
Thing I tell him is we had that same mindset, and we were coming to your home, and we felt we were confident in it. And like I said, it's a good group that we have, and just looking at the personalities, it makes me smile. You know, when I'm seeing them with Wright just getting tackled from behind, I can guarantee he's saying something under his breath. And Mark Madeley right there about to take the ball. I wouldn't doubt it if he tried to kick that ball straight at that guy's head that just did that. And he wouldn't have cared if it got back to him or caused a shot against us. He's one of those guys that you wanted him as a teammate. Right there on the ball, we didn't ever know what he was going to do on the ball. He was very confident and find little holes. I think this is our goal right here, right?
Yeah, he plays it through to Johnny.
That was
what a goal!
What a shot!
Yes.
Was that Thomas Martin that started the play, or Richie?
Yeah, I think that might have been Steve.
Stevie Burnell?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think so. Richie was out on the outside right. But what a play. I mean, that is just I think
you don't see teams split the seams twice like that, where you guys get it to the middle, then to the top line, just straight down the middle of their defense like that. That was a good play.
Yeah, I think we were a team that was a little bit ahead of the time, I think. A team that liked to keep the ball. And credit to Brett Simon, too. He saw that in all this young group right here that he got to be around, like Johnny Torres said. He was just basically, come on, Johnny. He was somebody that we got to be around a lot, and he respected the game from playing with technical ability, moving the ball, allowing us to work off of each other and have creativity within our team. And just watching us, we were always looking at trying to play off of each other, and it was I think it had a lot to do as we knew each other before college too. There's quite a few in this group that knew each other.
Yeah, it looks like you guys are making a concerted effort to find feet. Like, even when you're sending balls long, you're not just sending them to spaces, you're sending them like to where Johnny is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's like a purpose with what you guys are doing offensively here.
Well, like I said before, with Brett Simon being a coach for the Olympic Development Program, we've known each other for a long time, and you have a lot of players on this team that knew each other from the tender ages of being teenagers, and so we actually got together and decided where we wanted to go to college.
Oh, really?
Which I thought was great. I mean, 1994 in our freshman year, I think we had maybe 9 freshmen, and maybe 5 or 6 of us started. And so, we came to Creighton with a purpose. We wanted to come in, and even though the young team before us had already made a splash nationally, that being that they were ranked number 1 in their first year of existence when they went 19-0, when they lost in that famous split blizzard game against Air Force. We wanted to be able to continue that upward trend, and that's why we decided to all come together to attend Creighton University.
Yeah, how long was that Air Force game? I've heard stories about that.
Yeah, so I actually saw the footage once, probably my freshman year. But yeah, it was supposed to be like quadruple overtime. I think every year it becomes an overtime gets added. But I do remember that like 3 or 4 goals were called back.
Oh, really?
And people contest that those goals that were called back were legitimate goals. And unfortunately for us, we ended up losing the Air Force. So that's Richard Mulrooney hitting the diagonal there.
Yeah. He coaches Memphis now still? Is that where he's at?
He's the head coach at Memphis University, but Richie and Ross grew up together in Tennessee.
Oh, really?
And like I said, they were both coached by the same club coach, Richard Boot.
So is that who you're referring to when you say Richie? Richie is Richard Mulrooney?
I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm talking about Richard Mulrooney. Yeah.
Gotcha.
We know him as Rich.
No, you're good.
Yeah, he's me and him grew up in the same youth club, so we've known each other for I don't know when our youth club got formed, probably around 8th grade, 9th grade. We've known each other, high school, and it was great because when me and Johnny's class came, I knew Richie was being heavily recruited for there. Obviously, we had a big part of trying to get him to come to us because he's such a talented player, and obviously just had an amazing career also at Creighton and after, and still today is just doing great things in the sport. So having someone like him, and you'll be able to pick him out pretty easily in this game because he's somebody that will get the ball, has great vision, and man, he can put it on a dime down. He was really good at finding the ball over the top, diagonal balls, but super talented.
That's Johnny Epperson in goal. He's a doctor in Colorado now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah, to go back on Mark Maley, the guy on the ball right now playing center back.
Mm-hmm.
Ross said that's a guy that you would want on your team. Definitely a guy you would want on your team, not someone that you would want to play against because he was a maniac.
Really?
Still is. His nickname, Big Papa. And you know what? He earned that name, man. He was he was great. He took care of us, but you never wanted to cross him because if you did, you might be hurting.
Did you ever mess with him in practice, going 1v1?
Oh, of course. Of course. I mean, but if you did something like that, you got to make sure you got space to run into because if he's got you down somewhere where he's going to close you down, it's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt.
Looking now, it's a shame that it looks empty on the opposite side of the field because there's about 4,000 people at this game. And I remember the fans were pretty hostile.
Really?
They were pretty mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at that today. It looks like this was one of your crazier matches from an attendance standpoint, and it came on the road in this one.
Yeah, they were pretty hostile. They didn't hold back when they had things to say to you when you're down by the sideline.
Really?
Yeah.
There's that blonde-haired kid. Nice pass. Wow.
Finding my buddy over there, giving it back to me.
Oh, another one.
Find him.
Another one.
That one on him.
Jesus, those were both.
That might be Brad. Is that Brad McTighe?
Yes. This would have been a beautiful
I'm
goal.
so impressed with this team's passing ability. All these passes are like 50 yards and on the money.
Awesome.
my dad actually told me when they put this game on, and I started watching it. And same thing, I texted Johnny the day that I watched it, and I was like, man, I would have loved to coach this team.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first thing I thought of is you can see. I mean, we as players out there, you know, we all loved each other. We had a cool personality within our team.
Mhm.
But just looking at how we were organized and really had a purpose behind how we're defending right now, just making sure that they had a very hard time of getting out that space right
Yeah.
there. I mean, it's just we would be able to do this very thing right here to where we won the ball and we'd be at your throat almost scoring a goal within 2-3 passes. But then again, we also had composure within our team to where we would win the ball and be able to start controlling the game. The majority of this game, they were trying to just get beyond our front three, front five.
Yeah.
And they usually try to go direct over to, like Johnny said, to the right-sided player. That guy was dangerous. Zion did an amazing job on that left-hand side versus them because Zion, he's not super fast. He's not, and he would even say it. But
we always joked with him because his little sister, ran track.
Oh, really?
And I don't remember what university she ended up going to. She was younger than him by about 2-3 years. That's Zion on the ball right now. Zion Renfrom. He's from Georgia. When he came to Creighton, he was actually a forward, but he got relegated to playing left back. But he became one of the best left backs in the country.
Really?
But anyway, we would always joke with him, and he'd get so angry because Whitney was his sister, and she was blazing fast.
Really?
So we'd always say, like, what's the deal? Whitney's so much faster than you. Like, did she get the fast twitch muscle in the family or what? Like, what's wrong with you?
Oh, that was a nice play.
Oh.
I think it's just, it's crazy. Wait,
did you see the reaction
talking
there?
about too? Like Ross, that play you're talking about where you guys got the giveaway, got the takeaway, and then you turned like a 1-on-3 into a 2-on-4. But normally, you know, you see guys like pull it out and wait for numbers. Like you guys attacked that, and there was a 2-man disadvantage. Yeah. That was crazy. And you got a shot off of it too.
Yep. I mean, so I wish you had rewind and all that stuff on this, but when Johnny got taken down there, he was very good at just kind of acting like he was going to help the player up, but he was really just tapping him on the head, just basically just telling him, if you can't catch me, you know, I know you're going to foul me, but it's, you know, I'm coming at you again. It's not going to stop. So
I like it.
Foul, Fresno State.
We haven't. Neither team's made any subs, right?
I don't think I've seen any yet. Yeah.
No, I haven't seen any. That's different in our game today, isn't it, Johnny?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So many subs. That's Richard Mulrooney on the ball.
Gotcha. Oh, he did. Oh, wow.
Trying to find Ross.
Yeah, he almost got Ross right there too.
With his left foot. This is David Wright tracking this guy down. David would have been a freshman this year.
Yeah, he's a freshman here because after this year he moved more towards the middle.
Yeah, he's more of a center back. Yeah. Right now he's on the right side. Yeah, see, Zion is man marking that guy. That's why Zion's on the right side of the field right now. Because he's supposed to be our left back, but he's man marking him. He followed him all the way across the field.
Saw a little hip check there.
Yeah. And he's playing with a cast on his left arm. He played with a.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah, that's crazy.
He played like that like half the season. He's got foam around his cast.
Looking like Udai out there all strapped up.
That's Richie hitting Ross again.
Wow.
Ooh, that's a card.
That's what I'm telling the ref.
That was
They're having an
dirty.
earful right now.
That was dirty. Jerk.
He is a jerk. I don't know. Who is that guy?
I'm sure you let him know.
Yeah.
Another good ball. Oh, wow.
Ooh, Zion.
Get
Ross,
in the goal.
That's twice.
I know. Ross is so close to having two himself right here.
That was twice. And I thought that was a foul. Zion got clobbered.
Yeah, what, you guys let keepers punch dudes back then? Where'd that
Yeah,
go?
I guess.
Oh.
He was not playing the ball at all.
He was not. That's David Wright. Steven
Yeah, you're just,
Bernal.
I think like they're just overwhelmed right now. It seems like.
Yeah.
We had a great game.
Yeah. Oh. Richie, man, he had us dialed in. He was
Really?
always
Yeah.
looking for Ross and I. He had us dialed in.
He's finding you guys a lot too.
Yeah.
Like those balls are right to your feet, or maybe a step or two away from where you're gonna be.
NCAA soccer championship souvenirs are being sold at the stand located under the press box.
Oh, that guy just kicked Mark Madeley. He's probably taking his number right now.
Yep.
Zion, Richie. I think he was trying to play with Brad. That's Brad McTighe from
Yeah.
Kansas.
He's the other top line guy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Brad, Ross, and I were just interchanging. I was usually on the right side in this game, but we were free to interchange at will.
Gotcha.
Foul, Fresno State.
How long does it take to? What's the key to developing that amongst a group like that? I imagine like a lot of chemistry, but a lot of reps too. I would imagine, right?
Yeah, but I think if you got to have players that understand the game, right?
Yeah.
Because you might have some players that work really hard and move the entire game, and you say, "Wow, that guy's so fit and he runs so much." But there is such a thing as dumb running,
Yeah.
And so you got to know the game. You You can't just be running all over the place and you're running around more like a chicken with your head cut off. But you got to understand people's movements. And so, for example, if Ross is on the left and he runs across the field to vacate some space, I might understand that I could probably go into that space that Ross just vacated, And if Ross pulls a defender with him, then great, I'm open. And if Ross doesn't pull a defender with him and that defender stays with me, now Ross is open. So I think it's first of all, you got to have an understanding to the game. Secondly, have an understanding to one another and have guys that enjoy playing together. But yeah, that takes a while. It takes a lot of reps.
You feel like that was the key to it all, Ross, right there?
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta understand why you're doing something, and you gotta rely on your teammates to see it also. So I think exactly what Johnny said there is you don't run just to run. You run. Sometimes you're leaving a space for a teammate to fill in there on the opposite side, and that's why you see Johnny dropping back into the midfield and I'm up top, or I'm going out to dropping back into the defensive midfield area, and then we have Richie go higher than me. It's always just interchanging with each other, and it's what we basically call opposite movements, to where we're always looking. The way you can see a team that's pretty smart, the way they play is not everybody is so ball focused. More people, if you look at the way we're playing right now, there's players going away from the ball, knowing that they're going to get the ball in that opposite space instead of everybody coming straight back to the ball and not leaving any options elsewhere. So I would say, it is that. It's about having the knowledge of why you're moving and being able to change it anytime. So it's fun watching this.
Yeah, you guys do seem to be kind of all on a chain or all on a string. I haven't seen you guys occupy the same space yet. Like, where you kind of run into each other and ruin each other's spacing. I haven't seen that yet. That's
This
hard
guy
to do.
coming to the ball, he's playing more of a defensive role this game, but he was very good on the attack, and that's Jeff Deist, who was a transfer. This guy on the ball right now, and man, he was an excellent player. Played a little bit of professional. I know played professionally indoor as well, but in this particular game, he's kind of playing more in a defensive role behind me. But typically, he's a guy that we would want more on the attack because he was very creative and would offer quite a bit on the offensive side. Do you remember where we called him Opie? His name is Jeff Deist, but we called him Opie. Do you remember where he transferred in from, Ross? Was it somewhere in Illinois? I don't remember.
Yeah, was it Evansville or no? It wasn't Evansville, was it?
I don't
know. I don't remember. But going off of that, I think that's why this team was so strong because in most programs in the country, I think players like that would have been the star and maybe playing in the central midfield or I look at this right now. You look at Zion on the left. He is a talented player, and he could have played up top at many different programs. And then you look at David Wright, who also he could be in the middle running the show. He's somebody that could play anywhere just because he had the technical ability, the vision, the creativity, the composure, and I would say that's probably why this team was so strong. And it is another thing that I know me and Johnny now deal with on the coaching side is we're getting kids from everywhere that, they could be the center midfield for the team that they're coming from. They're used to playing that all the time. But they're going to have to be versatile enough to play right back and make a huge impact. And the key for a situation like that is being bought in. If you look at a player like David Wright, he could have had a terrible attitude and say, I'm not playing right back. I'm not playing left back. And to me, they were a huge part of the success because they came in, they were bought in to the position that they were playing, and holy cow, were they good at it. I mean, it's fun, again, watching this type of thing and having memories behind that because I very well could have been moved to actually, I'll talk about the pro side. All of a sudden I went pro and I'm playing right midfield where I rarely played my whole career. And you have to be able to adapt and own it. And not only own it, but be bought in. And I would say that's probably one of the biggest strengths of this team. We had great players all over the field that made a difference.
Well said.
This is one of these matches where you're watching and it's like, oh my God.
That was Jeff Deist. That was Opie.
Did you see that?
I hit somebody's head.
What a strike.
This is one of these
He was
matches
so
where you're
technical.
watching and it's like 1-0, but it feels like 4-0.
Yeah, should have been. That's a beautiful game, though. That's why this game is so tough.
Well, the other thing I'm noticing too is look at their back line guys, hands on hips, bending over, and you guys are just standing there waiting for the ball. They look overwhelmed right now physically. Did you guys ever pick up on cues like that as attackers? If you've got a guy who's kind of
I definitely
you
did.
can sense is kind of on tilt in terms of the stamina or whatnot, and feel like that's a good person to attack.
I definitely did as a front runner. I would try and make 3, 4, 5 runs in the first 10 minutes, and not so much because I was trying to, not just because I was trying to score, but I wanted to look back and see that center back put his hands on his knees, and then I would say to myself, okay, I got him where I want him now. It's going to take another couple of runs, and he's going to be sucking for air. Ouch.
Oh my God, Jesus.
He's gonna be sucking for air, and that's when I'm gonna be able to fly by him. So I definitely did.
Ross, how much did you weigh back then? That's a hard hit.
Same as now.
I was about to say, Ross hasn't changed a bit.
That's like you got hit by a truck right there.
I know. I was not the biggest dude, but going off the running side of it, I'm telling you, I was very fit still. I run, and if there was somebody that was going to man mark me, they were going to have a very tough day because I was going to just run to the side because I knew I had teammates that were going to fill the space where I just left. So that player was going to just follow me just to follow me. And there's nothing worse than just defending. There's nothing worse than following somebody and not knowing where this guy is going to go next. So, yeah, I mean, I would always be moving. I was the type of player that would always be looking to move with purpose. But then if I saw my player tired against me, then I knew I was going to have a lot more time and space on the ball.
Yeah. And I don't care if Johnny's on this one. He can get mad if he wants. But if people are listening and they're wondering who the most athletic coach on Creighton's campus is, it's still Ross.
I don't know.
I'll give him that.
My first match covering Ross when he came here to coach, he showed up maybe 3 hours before the match, and he's got his workout gear on and his Apple Watch going, and he goes to Morrison Stadium and he runs the length of the field, end line to end line and sideline to sideline. Yeah, he basically covers the field in his footsteps. It took 45 minutes, and he kept the same pace the whole time, and I was just like, this is unbelievable.
Well, I used to always.
So there's I don't think there's anybody on campus who can keep up with him. Still.
No, I used to always tell him that he ran like a gazelle, and he he was literally 18 to 18.
Yeah.
And that's definitely something I was never able to do.
I always ask him, Ross knows too, hey, he puts these kids through these fitness tests in the fall, and I'm like, is this one of the ones, would you fail this one? He goes, I'd never fail fitness test.
Never.
No. Well, Johnny, that reminds me of our first fitness test.
What, do you mean the one where I almost ended up in the ER?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Actually, you know what? None of us passed it. Remember, it was on that track?
It was crazy. It was at Central High School.
Yes.
Okay.
It was on the track, and we had to run the Cooper test, right?
Yeah. It was crazy. It was not the Cooper. It was this crazy test that Coach Warming had made up.
Yeah. And I remember that it was so windy on one side. And first of all, we're all out there, and I thought I was going to do fine, and pass the test. But I really don't think anybody passed this test besides Brian Adams, right?
That was it. He was the only guy. B.A. was the only guy that passed it.
Yeah. So it was so hard. But I remember it was the very beginning because it was us 9 freshmen coming in. No one knew us. We all knew each other. We had a chip on our shoulders, and we knew we were going to come in. We believed we were going to come in and make a difference. And we believed at where we were at. We believed in Creighton. We believed that we were here for a purpose. But we had a very strong-minded upperclassmen group that were very successful also. And so it was kind of a battle in the beginning, but the fitness test is one of those first things that I remember of it. And I remember Johnny took off. I mean, he took off, and he the first lap, I think he almost lapped everybody.
Really?
and we knew that you had to keep going, but I mean, so we end up catching up to him and going by him, but it was so hard. I wish I knew what that test was.
Well, it was from what I can remember, it was something like you had to run half a mile, and then after you finished your half a mile, and the clock didn't stop for anybody, so you start as a group. You're supposed to run half a mile, and halfway through it, I didn't think we were going to make it. And I remember Thomas Martin, who at the time was a sophomore, was right next to me, and he said, "Don't run off from the group." And I said, "Well, we're not going to make it. I don't want to flunk this." And he said, "We're good. We got a good pace." And I said, "No, screw you guys." So I took off. And so, but remember, the clock doesn't stop for anybody. So the way it works is you finish your half mile, then you got to walk 60 yards on the backside of the track to start your shuttles, because you had a series of 6 shuttles, and you'd go 6 yards back, 20 yards back, and then I don't know what it was, 60 yards back. You had to do 6 shuttles before you did another half, or maybe it was a quarter, then a half. But anyways, I killed that first one,
Mhm.
Yeah.
the half mile. But then I couldn't even make it to the shuttles. These guys were already jogging to where the beginning spot for the shuttles is. I'm like struggling. I can't even make it before they start their shuttles. So I flunked everything else, but nobody passed other than Brian Adams. But
Right.
I think it was a combination of number one, not understanding the test, number two, being nervous,
Yeah.
because then the very next morning at 4 a.m., we were at Degelman Circle, and
Yep.
Coach Warming showed up with his iced tea and his glasses, and it was 4 a.m. And he had Chris Naroda, who was an upperclassman, make his run through downtown at
Oh,
4
really?
a.m. And then we had to run the test, I think, 2 days later or something like that, and then everybody passed. But it
So
was
would you-
terrible. It was a terrible memory.
Would
It is.
would
It
you
is one of
consider would you consider that first day to be dumb running, Johnny?
Excuse me?
Would you consider that first day to be dumb running? Is that what you would consider?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was like, no, yeah, that was dumb running. What I did, that was dumb running. Absolutely. Absolutely. Where am I going? And it's funny because Thomas Martin was saying, he was yelling at me, "Where are you going? Where are you going?" And I'm like, "You guys aren't going to make it. We got to get there in time."
Yeah.
That's too funny. So yeah, we're about to start the second half here. Looks like you guys are up 1-0 still.
Yeah.
Again, they're coming out of halftime. Look at the hands on hips, and Ross and Johnny are bouncing around like they still look tired from this.
Yeah. This is the mindset you want your team to have. Halftime, you go in, we're coming at you. See you later.
That's Opie on the right that Ross
Yeah.
just played. And Brett McTighe was the first one.
I mean, that's the way you start a half.
That's
right
a great
there.
start.
Yeah. We're not going backwards. We're coming straight at you. Corner kick right away.
Mm-hmm.
Creighton corner kick to be taken by number 8, Richard Mulrooney.
Who played your guys' corners for you?
Mulrooney.
Well,
Okay.
yeah. That was Zion Renfrom. Or no, David Wright. That was David
Yeah.
Wright. I'd say
Mhm.
David Wright and Zion Renfrom were big targets for us. Yeah, Ross?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, they would go in, and then I would peel off the back. You see,
You're on the backside, yeah, behind.
yeah, and then you see Johnny coming out to the ball, which always would make 3 other players follow.
Right.
That's Brett McTighe. It's
Yeah,
me.
you guys are relentless.
There goes Opie. So Opie's gotten more involved in this half than he did in the first half because he just
Yeah.
caused the first corner kick and just got to the end line again, and we're
Mhm.
3 minutes in.
Yeah, so you get to the end line twice. They haven't even touched the ball hardly.
Yeah.
Goal kick, Fresno State.
I'm curious what you guys think. I know it's like, you can't control it, but from that St. John's match, they were really good, but that was a pretty competitive match between you guys, and then they just smacked Florida International. Do you feel like you guys would have won the national title if you didn't have to run into St. John's? Like, did you feel like, or if you had beaten them, maybe?
You just never know, but obviously I'd like to think that we would have gone up against Florida and FIU and been able to be successful. But St. John's was a good team, and I think unfortunately for us it took us a little bit to get into the game. And
Mhm.
as much as I'd like to say that we were full of confidence in that game, I just didn't feel the same. When I watched both games, I didn't feel the same type of confidence that we showed in this game.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
I agree. We were, I've seen that game once. I don't watch many games that hurt that bad.
Yeah.
Because I really believe we were a team that if we were playing at our best like this, there would have been no chance, especially on a beautiful field like we played at there.
Mhm.
We had our moments in the game. We really had moments where I believe that we were just going to take over, but we needed that special goal, and we needed those special times at the defensive side that just lifted us and created a new vibe within the team, because we were battling our way into the game, and that's why I say it's such a beautiful game, because things change quickly if you're not really playing with the full flow of who the personality of your team is.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to find a way back into that, especially at that top level where those tiny little moments make the difference in winning a national championship and not. And we didn't play bad that game. We just didn't. We didn't take advantage of all the moments in the game, both on the attacking side, defensive side. So it's frustrating to watch games like that when even when you talk to St. John's, those guys, it was a good game. I mean, it was a good game, but I think in the back of their head, I feel they got lucky.
Mm.
It stinks for me. It's
all that Johnny hit, the ball that Johnny hit you with, Ross, for the goal, that was pretty stuff.
Oh yeah, that was who we were. I mean, you see it in this game. Just him coming back in the midfield, causing creating space in behind, or vice versa, going wide and creating space in the middle. I mean, it was actually, you know what? I don't know if you think this too, Johnny, but this was such a fun group to play with. We really enjoyed playing, and I mean, it was a fun environment to play in, and we were successful, which makes it even better.
Mm.
And I know in games where you're in control, a lot like we have been in this whole game, there's moments in this game where it could have turned to where we gave them a silly goal. But we didn't. I think this was that's the difference. What I'm talking about in St. John's game is we never let this team really have any joy in the game. We had the joy in this game, and so I say this to my team: steal the other team's joy. If there's any way that you're playing the game and you have all the joy in the game, or you're trying to steal their joy all the time, then you're doing your job.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were talking about that St. John's game, and it stinks. It stinks because I don't know if you know this or not, Matt, but St. John's men's coach right now, Dave Mazur, he was on the sideline as the head coach for St. John's in '96.
Oh wow, no.
So he wears his championship ring, and so every time we play St. John's, I got to see it.
That explains why you guys always get into fights with St. John's. Now I know.
Now
Like, man, they really don't like each other very much. Why?
That is true, though, Johnny. Every time I go to the stadium and we go there and play there, and I see the banner up there, like, oh man, it's just painful. It is painful, but they earned it. That's the thing is that that's the game. They won the game. They moved on. They took advantage of the championship. So, but it's that's the tough thing about sports. It's you got to live with those things, learn from it, move on. But it's a tough thing to see something like that, but it is what it is.
I didn't mean to open old wounds. I just was looking back and saw that they had a pretty. They had like they smacked Florida International. I always wonder if you guys look back on that and say, yeah, we got past the college. We got past St. John's. We probably would have won that.
Yeah. Mark Madeley, he still hasn't watched it. Big Papa,
really?
He still hasn't watched the game. I don't know if you watched the game, but there's a opportunity that Big Papa has, like 8 yards away from the goal, a diving header, and he heads it over the goal.
Yeah.
And that would have tied the game up 2-2. And because of that, he refuses to watch it, and he still hasn't watched the game.
Really? Well, if I remember right, I think the back line would probably not want to watch anybody on that back line. Would not want to watch it because I think their first goal was. The first goal you guys conceded, it was I think there was some miscommunication in the box.
Yeah.
The second one was off of a
giveaway.
A little giveaway in the back on like.
Played it right to their forward.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Those are tough to defend for a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, that's giving away at that level, giving away chances to good teams, good players.
Right.
They'll punish you.
Yeah, they're going to punish you. but that doesn't take away from these guys, these players that we're talking about, their season and all that. And it is hard for when you can think back on those times where it didn't go your way. Like we were talking about penalty kicks. I remember the 2 I missed more
That's
than
right. It's
most
crazy that you
scored.
remember it's crazy you remember the 2 you
So
missed.
I mean, it really is that way. It's just being accountable. You want to be accountable for your team, and like this team right here, you want to do your best for your team, and it weighs on you, and if it didn't, there's something wrong. It's then you don't really care about it, but again, that's sports, and that's sports at the highest level is even more so because those little mistakes, or even just any one mistake, sometimes can cause a loss. But that's why you do what you do. You got to learn from those moments and hopefully not have those moments again.
Yeah. While we wait for Johnny to find the back of the net a second time here, I guess since we've got some time, I wanted to get you guys to talk about yourselves a little bit, and I think I'll start with Johnny. Like, what was Ross like to play with at this level when you guys were, really starting to come into your own in terms of peaking with your talents and whatnot? What made him, a great teammate and someone that, when you guys put it all together, made you guys a dangerous squad?
I was really excited to be able to play with Ross because Ross has always been a very cerebral player, a very smart player. And so for me as an attacker or a front runner, you want to be able to play with smart players that can get you the ball, especially during dangerous situations.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I always understood that when Ross was on the ball, if I made the correct movement, he was going to make sure that he was going to make me look good by being able to give me some passes that would put me in good positions to be able to go in front of goal. And so I think any player that aspires to wanting to score goals would want to pride themselves in being able to have teammates like Ross that could make your game easier for you.
Mm. And Ross, on the flip side, I guess, playing with a guy who's as dynamic, whether he's on or off the ball, as dynamic as Johnny, like how easy does it make your job in terms of, I don't know, maybe the chances you can take creatively because you know that physically they can make up for some of the chances you might take with trying to find them in space.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the complete, or just the opposite of what Johnny said. Is when I have the ball, I want to have options. I want to have options to go to, and to be creative, to create a goal-scoring chance, or to move the ball. And when you have somebody like Johnny that's that dynamic, and I mean, he was super fast, dynamic, quick. I'd say is a really good way of explaining him. But man, was he talented on the ball. I mean, just one-on-one situations, you could get him in the ball in a 1v1 situation, and he was going to create an opportunity or make the other team foul him. And for me to be able to play a ball through, it didn't have to be a perfect ball because he was going to go get it. And talk about having a teammate, not only from the talented side of who he is and how successful, how many goals that he scored, but even more so, I would say as a teammate and having a true, honest personality within your team that brings passion to who you are, but is like kind of like a glue to your team. There were moments where, and we all know Johnny, such a he's funny, fun to be around. There would be some tough times, and every team goes through it. But when you have somebody like him that can lighten it up a bit, but also be very passionate about who we are and trying to bring the best out of the person next to him. He was that teammate. He was a teammate that had the personality to bring a group together. And so as a teammate, super talented. obviously, scored boatload of goals because of how talented he was, the hard work that he had. But as a teammate, I would say you want that in your team. And that's what, to me, it's so fun working with him now today. He's the same
Right.
now as then, and I am too. It's just we had such a unique friendship and bond from before Creighton, and it even grew more so at Creighton and then after. So having that type of a teammate is what I remember. Just it's unique to have within your team.
I do think it has been interesting to hear people talk about you guys over the years, and then be around you and see that there's not much has changed since then.
I know one of the last times that Ross, and Ross's wife Lori and I were together. I forget what we were doing, and I did something dumb, and she looked over at me and she was like, "You and Ross haven't changed a bit."
Yeah.
There he goes again.
Beautiful goal.
Actually, it's funny because on the build-up there's a player by the name of Thomas Martin from Clovis, New Mexico. And he might be the funniest person I've ever met. And for the longest time, he would call me and say, "Will you please make some kind of highlight tape and send it to me?" And he'd been asking for this for 6 years since I got back to Creighton.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Dude, the only game I remember you playing in," and I was just giving him crap, but it was that Fresno game. And I think the ball ricocheted off your shin and it went to me, and I was oh, he was so angry. I'm like, "Come on, you're from Clovis, New Mexico. Where is that?" I'm like, "What?" He's a great, great guy. He still lives in Clovis, New Mexico, and he owns a couple of restaurants. His father owned them while he was at Creighton, and he's kind of taken over the family business now.
Nice.
But he's a great guy. We called him T-Bone.
T-Bone. This game was over.
Yeah.
Oh.
How big of a goal was that? It looked like you guys kind of made something out of nothing there, but it looked like Fresno was starting to create some more chances and put some pressure on you guys. How big was that to? Some people say the 2-0 lead is obviously dangerous because you can let up a little bit, but it seemed like it lifted you guys up.
I think I don't remember this team ever letting a huge lead go away. I think there was a couple times in our career here with me and Johnny together, but we were a team that I think we got more comfortable and more excited, more creative the more that we scored. That's that goal was huge, and it was created from the ball was on the opposite side. We go a little bit long, and we win that second ball, like I said, and then Johnny gets the ball in that dangerous area right at the top of the box, and basically just blows by one player, opening his body up, pulling it in, and a clear finish. But you'll watch the game, and I think we had a conscious effort of, after we scored a goal, we didn't want to stop. We wanted to continue to play and try to control the game. Gotcha. So we would look to either go at them or try to connect a decent amount of balls in possession.
Yeah, how much do you guys, I don't know if struggle is the right word, but as coaches, emphasize the fact that second ball is pretty important to creating stuff, because you see people can get easily discouraged when that first ball doesn't go as crisply as where it's supposed to or whatnot, and there's some a cluster for it, a fight for it. But how much do you guys try to emphasize the value of winning the second ball, because it can create a mismatch if you can win it?
The way I like to explain the second ball is, if we're going on the attack, especially if you're in the final third, you get a lot of teams that will ball watch and just try and see where the play's developing, but they're not organizing to be prepared for the what if.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's very important that we are organized as we're on the attack for the what if. And that organization for the what if will give the players on the attack the confidence to be creative, because now they know that if they happen to lose the ball, the team is well organized for the what if.
Yeah.
And now that helps us win the ball and in proximity of the opponent's goal, and we can continue to attack. But I think your organization, when you're on the attack, gives your attacking players the confidence to continue to be creative and attack at will.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I think if you watch us in this game, you can see that we do have numbers. We're spread out very well, but we usually have good numbers around the ball. And that's both on the attacking side and the defensive side, which is very hard to do because we're spreading them out. But anytime that one player is getting the ball, you're always seeing someone with support underneath and someone running beyond.
Yeah.
And then if that player that gets the ball or the ball's played long, you have numbers around the ball to win that second ball. You can, I think second balls are something where you can take over a game or lose a game. And that's something that I stress very highly with my team. And I think probably every coach does, but it's about doing the work to get numbers around the ball. And there's teams in the world right now that's all they do. They're playing long to win the second ball. They're not trying to be creative and play through the lines. They're basically going up high, and they're going to put numbers around the ball to win the second ball and get at you in dangerous parts of the field. So you just got to be aware of it, and you got to be the one that's in control of winning those second balls.
What's he complaining about here?
He's saying we're encroaching because the last time he hit the ball, we blocked it. So he said we're not 10 yards, and he's probably right.
He definitely is right. Well, he was definitely right on the one where it hit you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're bringing numbers forward more, but again, they're still not combining the way you guys are. It really is impressive to watch this performance as a whole.
Great game.
It is one of my biggest memories of our team. You know, it was one of those games where everybody played well and everybody had something to do with why we won the game. The movement and everything, and moving the ball around, and the work from everybody. You know, just having numbers around the ball.
Johnny mentioned the Road Warrior thing earlier. Did that help you guys, like, Ross, at all, like, from not feeling pressure? Maybe if you had played a couple home matches and been gone here for this one, the pressure of the moment of trying to win this match and go to the College Cup for the first time, if you hadn't been on the road at all previously in this tournament, do you feel like that had an impact on you guys?
I think so. I think we really enjoyed going into somebody else's house.
Really?
And kind of ruining their fun. I remember in particular, like I told you, that I remember the fans being really noisy and not very nice at all.
Really?
But we always looked at it as, if the fans are coming out and they're calling you by your name, they know who you are, they're out. To me, I see that as respect, because they came out, even though they're coming to support their team, they're coming out to watch a good game, and they know who you are already, which to me is a compliment.
I would agree. You know, it depends on how you look at it. Everybody wants to play at home, but sometimes there is more pressure at home, especially when you're a team that is meant to win the game, and you're playing against a very good opponent. I feel like we had a pretty even keel team. I do remember that we went to South Carolina this year, and they were a solid team. That was Clint Mathis on that team at that time?
Clint Mathis and Josh Wolf.
That's right. Yeah, because I remember they had an attack like we had, and they ended up beating us 3-1, and it was kind of an awakening for us a bit, because then we had another tough game going on the road again at the College of Charleston, and ended up just waxing them 5-0. against a bigger crowd, and they were meant to be. They actually had a very talented team, very technical international team in the midfield. It's just neat to look back on those. But yeah, we were road warriors. I thought we enjoyed being on the road. I tell you, some of the stories that we have from being in the hotel for so long together. We just had a fun group. We enjoyed being together, that's for sure.
Yeah. It'd probably be a different story if you guys had Morrison Stadium back then.
Oh man.
We had some great memories from Tranquility Park, man.
Yeah, so do I. Everybody played there.
I still remember our NCAA game, although it was a loss in overtime. And Ross, you mentioned his name earlier, Steve Jolly.
Yes.
It was against William and Mary.
That's right.
And, I remember Steve Jolly because although he played the center back professionally his whole career, but at William Mary he was center forward. And I still remember him doing the backflip after he scored the winner in overtime. And that was our sophomore year.
Yeah.
But, there was probably 4,000 people at Tranquility Park watching that game.
Right.
It was awesome.
Yeah, he ended up being my teammate there in New York.
Stars.
Yes, and he was very sure to remind me of it. So, but again, he was one of those. He was very honest. We should have won that game. But that's the sport. Like you said, Matt, that's about playing at home. You're expected to win those games. We should have won the game, but we didn't. It's that's where the pressure comes from. But such amazing memories. You're right, at Tranquility. But man, Johnny, could you imagine us on Morrison?
Oh my goodness!
Just having.
I always tell the guys I wouldn't have need to go back to Swanson. I would have just slept at the field.
Yeah.
That whole fall semester, I would just did everything at the field.
Sometimes I think you guys do sleep there. Like, I'll be showing up and I think I'm early, and Johnny and Ross are already still there.
That's true. That's true. Me and Johnny found ways to, and Richie Mulrooney, and we would find ways to have fun training. We would go into what is it called? Oh, geez. KFC. And go into the volleyball court and play. We'd play soccer, tennis. We'd shoot the ball with our feet into the basketball goal and play. But the thing I remember the most is playing soccer golf all around campus. And we would we'd get outside, we'd pick a tree way off in the distance. People are going to class. Yep. And we're chipping over people.
Don't touch it! Don't touch it! Don't touch it!
No, we would find ways to train and refine our craft and all that, but I couldn't imagine, I could imagine with having the facilities that we have and having Rasmussen to where there is no excuse. You have a place to go train, play. It's ours, and our players. It's such a blessing for us as coaches to have that as a resource, and we're so blessed. Basically, is the best word I can say, to have an amazing stadium to be our home, to train in, to play in, I love it for our players. But I do think back, like, wow, that would have been fun. That would have been.
I would love to live tweet soccer golf one day. That'd be fun.
Johnny, me and you, we'll have to, once they open up campus, me and you, we're playing soccer golf from our offices all the way to the end of campus and back, and we'll just make 9. We'll pick 9 holes. Yeah. All right. We'll see if we can get a following.
We're always picking like little statues or like a certain bench in the Jesuit garden, or and trying to see who would get the fewest strokes.
That sounds amazingly fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
Yeah. People are getting out of class and they're like, "Oh, there's a ball," and I'm like, "Don't touch my ball. That's my shot." You know, you were talking about Steve Jolly and him being your teammate with the Metro Stars. My first year with the New England Revolution, one of my teammates was Jesse Van Son. Jesse Van Son is the guy that scores the second goal in that St. John's Creighton game.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, you talk about Jolly not living it down or not letting you live it down. Jesse Van Son would never let that game go. And the thing that really irked me is Jesse Van Son was left-footed, and to this day, the only time I've ever seen him use his right foot was on that damn goal.
Oh man.
That second goal. Oh, it would just drive me nuts. That was a really nice goal, though, outside of the giveaway we had at the back.
Yeah.
But the guy that assisted the goal to him made a very nice backheel pass.
Oh,
Ross.
Dude, you're on a hat trick right now.
Seriously, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said I was watching this one. I was like, you know, Johnny scores twice, but Ross has so many moments where he's like,
he's on a hat trick. But the guy that assisted that goal to Van Son, he's a head coach. He was with the Delphi, and he might have won a national championship in that division, but he just took over Fordham. It's Carlo Acquista. And he always gives me crap about that game, too, when I see him on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, I'm watching Ross right here. Like, Johnny, explain to me how Ross, he was MVC Player of the Year this year, but he wasn't an All-American. What happened?
It's nuts. I think somebody didn't like his hair. That's the only reason you wouldn't give it to him. I loved it. I thought it was great. That's ridiculous. That's why
that probably only served to fuel Ross even more if he needed it.
No, that's all right.
I was always more for team accolades, man.
Yeah,
the other stuff, it's like that stuff when it comes, it's nice, but I'd rather have team accolades.
Johnny, that's what all the dudes who win all the individual accolades always say.
Man, I'd trade any of those individual accolades in for a national champion any day.
I believe it. I'm just giving you shit.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you shit because there's shiny little trophies of you all over the campus.
He deserves every one of them.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
Ooh.
Yeah, you guys are still pressing up here.
Yeah, this game could have been out of control.
Yeah,
Actually, it kind of was.
I mean, honestly, this is pretty ugly for an Elite Eight match. Like, you guys are dominating.
Yeah, we had fun.
It was fun, but for me, to be able to silence the crowd, because they were so mean.
Really?
The stuff they were saying, and to be able to silence them was, for me, my satisfaction.
Nice.
I do remember that because they were actually pretty harsh on both me and you.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, they pinpointed my hair, obviously. But you know, it was a very hostile crowd, and it was. I think, you know, it was a good lesson too for us, you know, moving on, you know, into a higher level, because we basically shut them up and shut them out, you know.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a good lesson because that was probably the first time I've been a part of a bigger crowd that was just, I mean, pinpointing, saying things that you shouldn't say. You know, they would have been kicked out of the stadium, you know, in today's world.
Mm-hmm. Who was the funniest dude on this team? Do you guys remember?
Thomas Martin.
Thomas Martin.
Really?
Oh my God. So there's this one thing he used to do.
That's awesome.
Which was funny, but not always. There's certain places where he shouldn't have done it, but he did it anyway.
Oh man.
So we were playing. We were gonna play a game, and at the time they were doing the National Game of the Week, and we were playing against UNC Charlotte.
Okay.
And the day before the game, no, it was actually the day of the game. That afternoon, Coach Simon thought it'd be a good idea to go for a stroll. and we decided to go for a stroll on their campus.
Oh no.
And we're all wearing these really, really like these Diodora warm-ups we used to have. Do you remember these, Ross?
Oh
The
yeah.
ones that had all the color on the side.
Yes.
So I loved the Diodora gear we had, but these particular warm-ups were a little loud,
Yes.
right? So I mean, we stuck out. And UNC Charlotte, they're white and green. We got these blue sweatpants, and it's 20 dudes walking through campus, right? It's the afternoon before the game. We go into their student center, and we're walking down these flight of stairs, and we're in the student center. We're getting some pop and, you know, hanging out and seeing all the people that are there. There's probably 300 people there. And for a split second, we lost T-Bone. We're like, where's T-Bone? I look up, and I'm like, oh no, he's about to do it. So he always did this in public areas where he would fake that he fell, but he'd be like super loud and dramatic about it. And we're like, wait, we're here as a team. We're playing these guys tonight. Like, don't do this here. Well, he falls like 10 stairs. And he's yelling like, oh, and like he's tumbling down, and we're like, oh no. And everybody, it was like you could have heard a pin drop in that room. There's like 300 people there. And right where he falls was a sorority, and they're doing some kind of fundraiser where they're like putting money in those big bubbler bottles.
Yeah.
You remember this, Ross?
Yep.
So all these girls run to his aid, and they're like, are you okay? Are you okay? And he's like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Meanwhile, everybody else is just killing us, like laughing, like, oh, you dummy heads, you know, we're going to kill you tonight. We're going to beat you tonight. But, yeah, he was pretty funny. But he did that at other places, too. He did it at the airport.
Oh, man.
I think Coach Simon almost had a conniption one day when he did
Yeah.
At the airport.
it. He did
Yeah.
it at the gate.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, he was he still is. Actually,
Still is very
me,
funny.
Johnny, and Richie just got a text from him just 3 days ago. You know, so it's he's in the same humor, same everything. We can't share what he said in the text or anything like that. It was all for a good reason, to do something very good, but just such a great sense of humor, and talk about having somebody in your team that is selfless. He is that guy, and he was so funny. I mean, I wish we could actually have a video of what we're talking about, of him falling, because
Seriously, that sounds ridiculous.
at the airport, I remember the one at the airport that Simon got so, I mean, he didn't get mad, but when Simon got mad or upset, he just turned red.
Yeah.
He was super red.
Yeah. He never yelled
he
or
wouldn't
anything.
he wouldn't yell or anything. He just got really red. And man, I looked at him, and he was so red. But we're all in line to get onto the plane, and we see him running, saying, "Wait for me! Wait for me!"
And it was weird because he was carrying his bag,
Yes. Yeah.
which was a duffel bag. Oh!
Jeez, Ross.
He was carrying this bag that has a shoulder strap, but for whatever reason, he's carrying it out in front like this. So when he falls, the bag flies like 20 feet, and he falls face first. And people are like, oh my goodness, this kid just killed himself. I'm like, is he okay? Someone call 911. And he's laying there like, ugh, ugh.
Oh man,
That's awesome.
good group.
It was a fun group.
We had good characters. You know, funny, serious, but also funny, like Mark Madeley. You know, he was fun to have on the team. Zion. You know, we had good characters, good personalities within our team that, like I said, we really enjoyed being around each other and bantering each other and bantering with the coaches. We had a great coaching staff. Yeah, I know, Johnny, you're shaking your head. A lot of stories there too, but I mean, it was such a fun atmosphere to be in with the culture of our team and the coaching staff and just Creighton overall. You know, that's why we chose Creighton. That's really what we came here for, and it was that culture that we wanted to be around. It was the people that we were going to be around, the purpose behind what we were doing, and And in the end of it, we wanted to enjoy it, and we did. Man, did we enjoy it! And this group right here still talks to each other. When we get
Really?
together, it's wonderful. You know, it's just you don't have many experiences like that, and I think that's what's one of the things I'm so thankful for what we got here at Creighton, is that culture behind it, and what the family that we have now.
We're getting close to wrapping this one up, but I just wonder, because you guys have mentioned how proud you are of what you guys accomplished as a group, and I wonder if you guys ever, like, I don't know, there's so many reminders of it around campus, but also the fact that you guys are playing at Morrison, you're playing matches at Morrison Stadium, you're practicing at Morrison Stadium, you have the RAS, the training facility. I mean, basically that whole setup down there is like a professional training facility when you put it all together. And I wonder if you guys ever, have a moment to yourselves where you just stop and think about how much, this match and this moment and this team had a hand in kind of, building all of that and creating the vision that Creighton soccer should be, on the national map, and that it should be competing for national titles every single year.
I'm always very proud of the fact that I'm part of this program, and that I was able now to become part of it as a coach. And I'm thankful for the people that came before us that helped put Creighton on the map in regards to our soccer program. And I'm thankful for the teammates that I had to continue the trend. But we've had some great leaders here, not just players, but some of the coaches that have come through this program. With Coach Foreman and Coach Simon, and then being able to work with Coach Bolovich. But I think, to be quite honest with you, I think none of this happens with the soccer program or our basketball program or any of the other sports, to be honest with you, if Bruce Rasmus is not here. I think, and I'm not saying this because he's my boss, but I honestly think Bruce Rasmussen is definitely, if not the best, one of the best ADs in the country, and we don't have in athletics what we have if it wasn't for him.
Yeah, you guys definitely don't have enough buildings named after him. I definitely agree with that. But there's only one is still like a shame. But
Ross, actually, to be honest with you, we were giving him crap when that first came out, because we're like, oh, Rash, usually you got to die to get a building named after yourself. Like, sure you want this? Like, I don't know. I'd say no. Please don't name it after me. But second to what Ras has done is the community we have here is unbelievable, and the way that they come out and support athletics is amazing, and that's why it's always such a special place for me. And that's why I knew that at some point I didn't have it figured out, but I knew I wanted to come back in some kind of capacity. Mm-hmm. And I'm just glad that I was able to come back, because this is where I wanted to raise my family.
Ross, how much of that for you, like what Johnny's talking about right there, because you did get away from it for a little bit. Mm-hmm. I wonder how much, having Ras still here and having elements of the community that, support the soccer programs and whatnot, how much of that drew you back to the role you're currently in? Like, how much of a main attraction was that for you to accept the job and move your family back out here?
Well, the thing is everything that Johnny just said is why I'm back here. I think back on why I chose Creighton in the beginning, and I looked at it as a place that I was going to grow, and it was a place where I could go make an impact. And those two things matched up for Creighton 100%. And no doubt about it, the reason why Creighton is what it is today in the athletic side is, a lot of the hard work and the people that came before Ras, but Ras is the glue that makes things tick here. He makes the culture within the athletic department. There's a reason why we have such an amazing community support, is because someone like you have a leader like Ras that he walks the walk, he talks the talk, and he has such a great leadership and vision behind who he wants his coaches to be, who he wants Creighton to represent in the athletic side. And he's basically created a very large family within it. I mean, we're not all connected. Like I said, I left. You said I left for a little bit, but Creighton was always something that I look back on as a place that has shaped me. And it's something that now I look at Morrison Stadium, and I get to work at the place that I love and that's shaped me and helped me grow into who I am today, and helped me have the success that I had today in the game. Helped me love what I do. And it's really about the people that you surround yourself with. And I think that's having someone like Ras, who has always been about that. And that's what he does. He brings people in that he believes in, that have the right character, that fit into Creighton's mentality and culture of family, of growing and developing and moving on better because you came here. So that's everything that I got here from Creighton, and now to be a part of it is something that I cherish, you know. And I think the pressure of winning and becoming what I know we can become on the women's side is being relevant nationally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the pressure of that is because I want Creighton to have that. I want the community to see that and support the women's side. We're on our way in that direction. But it's that's the pressure I feel from it, because I believe in it so much. I believe in Creighton. I believe in what these girls are going to get once they get here, and whether they get to be a part of that time when we are that nationally relevant team, they're going to move on here better because of Creighton, and that is such a powerful thing to have in recruiting, when you have someone like me or Johnny who love Creighton, believe in Creighton, know what Creighton is, know what Creighton provides for you, not just while you're here. I mean, it's even more so after, say, you leave, and look how fast Johnny is. Oh, seriously. My word. But it's about what you get when you're here and who you become. So I would 100% agree with Johnny. Just to work in a place that has a boss that has the mentality like Ras, that has a forward mind, has the heart behind it, has a community that supports you, and it's all you see the way me and Johnny are. It's a family. It really is. It's and that doesn't leave you when you leave Creighton. So it's amazing to be a part of.
Yeah, you definitely get a sense of everything you talked about there. It feels really genuine. And it's not like you guys are just back. You know, some people are alums and things like that, and they come back and they try to lead their programs and do things like that just because, I'm not naming any names or anything like that or any other schools, but they do it, and it seems like it brings a little bit more attention just because of that fact. But I feel like there's something organic with, you know, you guys aren't just alums, you're part of this community as much as anybody. I mean, and you get a sense of that when you talk to people that are following the programs and that aren't, you know, on the payroll and obligated to say things about you guys. Like, you definitely get a sense of how much, you know, you guys as players and coaches, but also this team that, you know, did these things to make history, that how much you guys are still revered in the community and how much everybody thinks of you guys. That's why I'm glad we did this, and I appreciate you guys hopping on, because I know a lot of people are going to enjoy it.
I know. No, it's been great, Matt. We appreciate that. I mean, it's this is fun to watch again. I mean, again, there's so many, just like that play that just happened, Johnny.
Yeah.
I mean, that is amazing. I mean, that is so creative. The movements off of each other.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And I'm gonna text Opie and say, I just watched the game and you missed the sitter of a header 6 yards away.
Well, hey guys, I appreciate it. I know this is a big ask, asking you guys to take this much time away from families and everything like that and sit down and watch this, but I really appreciate you guys' insight, and I hope you guys stay safe and we get everything rolling here in the fall pretty soon, and we'll see each other.
Thanks for having us, man. I appreciate it. This has been awesome.
Been great. Thank you so much.
All right, see you guys. Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate your help, man.
Yeah.
Anthony, don't talk so much.
Yeah.
I know.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 1-0. The final score of today's NCAA quarterfinal match, the Creighton Blue Jays 2, the Fresno State Bulldogs 0.